Welcome back, guys, to the Hold Your Horses podcast. Really appreciate you guys being here. We've got a really important but kind of sensitive topic to talk about today. So just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a warning. Some videos have surfaced of a trainer from Wishing Stone Farms in Millbrook, Ontario. Videos of her dragging a horse behind a moving vehicle for apparent training purposes. She then posted this on her family's farm social media channels for everyone to see, thinking this would somehow be a good idea. The video. I just want to thank today's guest. So this is Jamie Lorentz, guys. She was one of the first people to come across the videos and get involved. And I just want to thank you, Jamie, for speaking up. I think it's so important, especially for young people in the horse industry, to show them that this is not something we will stand for, and hopefully to motivate change. And do you want to give us a brief intro of your history with horses and of yourself?
Sure. Okay. So I'm 23 and I pretty much came out of the womb into the horse world. I started professionally working under a trainer doing apprenticeship at 12. And then kind of since there, in the training world, I have an extensive show experience. I'm on the World Equestrian Circuit in Ocala. My coaches and trainers range from USEF Horse Women of the Year to Olympic riders. In short, what I'm trying to express here is that I have had essentially a lifetime of proper professional training at the highest level, and that, I am confident enough and educated enough that I know what is correct and what is incorrect. So I will just start with that I do believe I'm knowledgeable to take a stance so strongly in this position because I know what works and what doesn't work.
Absolutely. And with that being said, how did you come across this video? And being somebody who has worked with horses and done a lot of training in the past, how did that make you feel when you saw that?
So as a lot of us know, unfortunately, this industry is very tight-lipped, very political, and especially at the top. There is a lot of talk. The horse community between Canada and the States is actually incredibly small. So this video, it actually took place at the beginning of November, and the video did circulate amongst equestrians, including some Olympian, 5-star level riders, but unfortunately for their business purposes and whatnot, not want to come forward.
Right.
Again, I have mixed feelings on this. I see both sides to it, so I'm not going to touch any deeper on that. However, it was shared with me in a chat. And as I've recently stepped away from riding at, the elite level, I felt I have nothing to lose. And so this is why I responded back in my small group chat. I said, if I go forth with this, I want to make sure that I have the support. I wish I'd seen it sooner. Unfortunately, I didn't open the videos for a couple days. And once I saw it, it just kind of took every ounce out of me. And in that moment, I knew something needs to be done, and it needs to be done now. Kind of everything I had going on, schoolwork, it just dropped in that moment. I kind of gathered the troops and said, all right, we need to do something because it is the worst thing I've ever seen.
I've had backlash as well. I've had people say are you sure you want to get involved? And I think that kind of leads into the next question, the hesitation of getting involved in something like that. It shouldn't even be there in the first place. We should be able to just stand up for something that we know in our hearts is really, really wrong, and not have to worry about repercussions. But have you seen a lot of this type of training in the past? It's where do we draw the line, right? Let's briefly discuss where it becomes abuse. Horses learn from pressure release, right? Negative reinforcement. So at what point is there no understanding for the horse? You know what I mean? What's your take on that?
So I have said, so I have worked at tracks before, breaking quarter horses and thoroughbreds, 2-year-olds for racing. Already I know it's a bit of a fine line in that industry, and they're a very common method for teaching a horse to give into pressure, which is what Solstice was claiming she was doing in the video by dragging the horse by a moving vehicle. What's common in the racing industry is you will take the 2-year-old and attach a piece of rope from the bit to the tail, and by tying that, you leave them there for a few hours both directions. It's to train them to give into pressure. I will say, at that already for me is a fine line of what's right, what is not right. There are some practices that are kind of long withstanding that people still practice because it works.
Yeah.
Just because something works, does that mean it's right? You know, if you can scold a child or you can, you know, hit a child, it's going to work either way. It's just, you know, again, it's all up for moral debate. In the video, the horse is clearly in an immense amount of stress.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know, quite frankly, how you can call that training.
Yeah, I think the horse had pretty much like disassociated at that point. You can see afterwards, like there's like no motion, nothing.
Trauma.
Left, right? Trauma, exactly. You know, you just think that's the way things are done when you're younger. And I think many things are overlooked, like you said, that aren't necessarily right or humane. So like in Solstice's mind, it's like, where do you think the justification of this action came from? Like, do you think we have to maybe blame the horse industry a little bit for like overlooking these things too often? It's a trick.
I don't know if it's about overlooking it. I think it's keeping people's mouths closed. I think, you know, minus her friends who are just trying to support her. I've not met a single individual at any level in the horse world who has looked at this video not been absolutely horrified. Yeah. I think people know what is wrong and right. I think the problem is no one wants to speak up. Right. No one wants to be the person coming forth. No one wants to be the drama starter. No one wants a strike on their back, which is incredibly unfortunate because I think that stigma is what allows people like Solstice, you know, the 1 in a million, to continue doing things like this. So, you know, I think it's just more of a problem of the stigma and the politics of the horse world versus, you know, the actual training purposes, if people agree with it or not.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And like, with that being said, I know you mentioned you had had a couple people contact you to kind of like maybe minimize or like justify what had happened. Like, how did you deal with that situation?
So I did have a couple people, yes, message me and message a few of my friends. So I kind of have like a little team going on here of Zarbia, Jess, Alexis, Amanda. If you'll see them commenting often on polls and posts. Unfortunately, I can't be on it 24 hours of the day. So whenever I find a lead, I send it to them in the group chat and someone follows up on it. So unfortunately, they've gotten lots of messages too. They're all quite similar, just they range from how dare you do this? The video is fake. This is not her. This is training. All of them are just quite ridiculous. I have a copy and paste message that I just sent to everyone. I've made it very clear in my posts. Anyone with an opinion, I will share it. You know, this is not going to be biased. The important thing is that this is open. If you feel you want me to share what you have to say, I'm more than happy to share it. But here's what I'm laying out A through Z on, you know, this is why it is wrong. This is how we prove it is her. I have messages of her admitting, talking about it, and so forth. After reading my information, if you'd still like to go forth and have the information posted that you believe, absolutely. But I will not be engaging further in contact. I will say every single one of them decided they would not like their opinion shared anymore after, you know, realizing that it is slightly ridiculous.
That's interesting. And did you get kind of the same response from like, so guys, Solstice has many sponsors, and you know, they've been contacted and made aware of this situation. So Jamie, like what has been the response from the sponsors that you found?
Oh, okay. So this I haven't really shared too much of yet, just because it's kind of ironic. Sorry, I have my windshield wipers on. So the seed company that she is sponsored by is actually her stepfather's, who owns the property. So obviously she will not be dropped by that sponsor, as essentially it's kind of a loophole. It's her own sponsor. Just a little ironic. Anyways, other sponsors such as Olivia Rose Equestrian, as soon as they found out, I did reach them, had other people reach out to them, immediately were shocked, upset, ashamed, posted right away. OCTRA, so the Ontario Competitive Show Riding Association, they announced that they have a pending internal investigation that she's suspended. I won't comment further on that of how I feel. I'm not really sure what there is to investigate. This is kind of similar from a lot of places, Equine Canada, Ontario Equestrian. One that I do find quite interesting is that the Kawartha Pony Club, which she is a member of, a very active member, her father or stepfather has ran for presidency and whatnot. When I tagged them in my post and asked them. They deleted their social media. Again, that was not an official statement. That was kind of just an insider information little tidbit. But I just have a lot of questions. Fourth Pony Club,
absolutely.
What's up? But yeah, that's kind of, for the most part, the response has been, you know, the same as yours and mine, just horror and distancing themselves from this girl as soon as anyone finds out that they don't want this to be someone who represents their brand or anything.
And it's funny, the relationships and you know, some of the things that go on behind the scenes that, you know, people on the outside don't necessarily know about until you dig a little bit deeper, right? So like, it's funny, dogs and cats, if say she dragged a dog behind the vehicle, she would never be able to own a dog again in her entire life. She would never be able to own an animal. So how do you think the horse industry, it's like, we're so complacent with like sending a horse to anybody without even looking into the person, whether it be for training, sale, you know, like anything like that. Like, what do you think as a community we can do to ensure that you know, we don't send horses to people like that anymore?
Right. I think it's a combination of unfortunate circumstances, you know, ever since the dissolvement of kind of the equine SPCA, that has, you know, I think motivated a lot of people to do more because they feel they cannot be caught, they cannot be punished. There are very few things the Ontario law outside of animal welfare can charge you for, and it is very difficult to prove. It is time consuming. I think police feel, you know, not that they prioritize humans over animals, but it's kind of just that mantra of, you know, there's bigger things, more pressing things to worry about as non-horse people. I also know I work in one of the province's biggest small animal vet hospitals, is that there are far more organizations involved with small animals, dogs and cats. I don't know if it's because they're less expensive, they're closer to home, you know, they're more people are dog and cat people than horse people realistically. So I don't know if that's why, but that's a really good question that I wish I could give you a good answer to. Unfortunately, I just think, you know, continuing to speak out, maybe keep pushing as we're doing towards OPP, towards law, to say, hey, you know, we're not going to sit back and let this happen right in front of us. Step your game up.
That's right.
Is how OPP was first contacted about this in the beginning of November. Why has there been nothing done? Why is it not until that, you know, we put posts forward and they get shared and the news get involved, and now suddenly they're making public announcements and whatnot? It's up to people like you and I to, you know, take a stand, raise awareness, show them that, you know, we're not going to back down, and either someone do something or we're going to do something about it, you know?
So for you personally, with horses, what's your kind of plan for the future in the next little bit? Like, do you have any big goals, just for kind of wrapping it up here? Like, where will we see you next?
Oh, that's a loaded question. You know, I'm coming off a lot of bad injuries that I need surgery and whatnot. I was thinking about, I was going to go down to Kansas City next month and run a bit of a program up there. They do like 3-3, 3-6 hunters, kind of coach and do that. Not go down to Florida. You know, I did that life for a bit, but you know, I think right now, especially after this, I just want to take a step back and take it all in. Is this the life I want to live? I've been doing it since I was born. Are these the people, you know, I want to be around? In the general community, everyone who's come together is absolutely fantastic, absolutely great. I appreciate so much everything everyone has done. But, you know, it's those few that ruin it for everyone that kind of make me want to step back and wonder, you know, the fact that it took weeks for this to come out with everyone knowing. I don't know if that's something I want to go back into. So if like I'm burning down a house and I'm stuck in it, like, sorry, Solstice, you're coming with me. Like, we can go down together.
That's great. And I think
justice is served.
And that's amazing. Like, I think, you know, exactly. It takes people like you to just literally get this ball rolling and say, hey guys, like, we need to get more people involved. And the more people that kind of come together and realize like, this isn't right. I think, yeah, I just wanted to thank you, Jamie, for getting involved in doing the right thing. And there's something really empowering about like standing up for what you believe in, regardless of the consequences or, you know, what you think they might be. So yeah, I just wanted to thank you for that, and keep doing what you're doing, and can't wait to see what you do next. So Cheers. Thank you. All right, guys, I kind of wanted to just do a little bit of a wrap up separate here. So apparently she's going to appear in court in January. There's already been many articles posted about the situation on horsesport.com. OPP, I believe, have spoke on it as well. So I'm going to drop the sponsors below that are still active and supporting her or who haven't addressed the situation yet. We want to spread awareness. That's the whole point of this, to show others that there's repercussions for these type of actions when, you know, you take advantage of literally the privilege of working with and owning animals. So thank you guys for listening, and I think just getting this out there. I also reached out to Solstice to see if she wanted to speak or comment on anything that had happened, and I haven't heard back. So anyway, thank you guys for listening, and we'll provide kind of updates when we can. But for now, just check out Jamie's page on her Facebook. She's been providing updates there. We'll link that below for you guys. So thanks again.